And thanks so much, Pete, for sharing your insights. Super interesting to see, kind of how you started as employee number 20 and then grew the team all the way up to 2,000 employees. So I was just kind of curious about one thing that you mentioned around talking about community managers and kind of, having a team grow at a market for a year before your team came in and started driving ads. So curious to see kind of, how you incentivize those, like finding those elite members and how you kind of incentivize the behavior that you wanted to see. Like what types of incentives did you use? So yeah, kind of curious if you could maybe speak a little bit to that.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the community management team was one of the big innovations that I think really drove a lot of success at Yelp. And I mean, if you think about it, in theory, it sounds expensive, right? We're going to hire a person in every single market to acquire users of our product, right? The whole idea of like we're going to hire someone and they're going to acquire users. Like I thought this was a website. Like what's that all about? But I think what we were able to track very closely was basically that playbook, right? And understand, okay, if we put a community manager in this market, this is how many more users we're going to acquire in that market. And we are able to see that and track that and understand what behaviors and what KPIs that person should have. So we were able to track that pretty closely. And, that was part of the market by market approach where we kind of stumbled upon the idea. In the early days, the first community manager, Nish Nataraja, he was the first marketing person at Yelp, and he had experience in street level marketing. And so, they were just like, hey, let's go talk to these people who are writing reviews. And they started talking to them and having these parties and getting people together. And they just started to see the community grow. So they kind of stumbled upon it and then found out, okay, well, what are the activities that these people should be doing, and how can we sort of turn this into a playbook that we can launch in each market? A couple key things that were key in that case were one, acquiring the center of the bullseye, so focusing time on that. So the key KPI there was something along the lines of whatever the metric was to define the center of the bullseye. So I think it was someone who maybe wrote a review once a week or 2 reviews a week or something along those lines, was a key metric. So looking for people who did that and acquiring that and keeping them focused on that, not the overall user base growth, which you would think would be their job, right? But it was actually, no, let's acquire these people who are super active. So that was really important. One of the key things they did is they had a party once a month and they got everyone together, and each of those elite members had a +1. So they would invite someone to the party, which would then naturally grow the community. The +1 idea was genius, and it really worked. And so, organizing and throwing that party once a month, and then all the online behaviors that drove the party. So the before, during, and the after. So the posting of the event, the talking on the talk boards around it, all the communication afterwards, those things were key. And then there was key behaviors that they were doing online. So messaging people directly as well. So it wasn't just offline. They were messaging people directly. They were engaging with people's reviews. So Yelp you could vote for a review as useful, funny, or cool. So it was sort of the Facebook like button before the like button existed. So they were really active on the platform as well. And they were modeling what the behavior should be like. So they were modeling what an Yelp elite member should be doing, right? So they were writing a review every single day, and they were writing quality reviews, not just short reviews, and they were posting pictures and doing all those kind of things. So that's kind of how they spent their time. If we were to create the role today, it might be a little bit different. But I think the key thing was really understanding the center of the bullseye and focusing on that and keeping them focused on that versus, all these other metrics that they could be thinking about. Yeah, lots to talk about there. I actually think Nish did a post. Mike, maybe we can dig it up and find it and link it. I think Nish did a post on the early days about the community management team. Super interesting. So we'll find that one and link to it for you guys.